The Smith family, hoping for a fresh start, moved into an old Victorian house on the outskirts of town. The allure of the vintage architecture appealed to them, and they envisioned a home filled with warmth and laughter. Little did they know that the house hid a secret, a dark history concealed behind its ornate facade. From the moment they stepped inside, the Smiths felt an eerie stillness hanging in the air. The walls, adorned with vintage wallpaper, emitted a coldness that sent shivers down their spines. Unbeknownst to them, the house held a malevolent force, a presence that had quietly awaited new occupants to unleash its haunting. Strange things began happening. Soft whispers echoed through the empty halls, and shadows seemed to dance in the corners of their vision. The Smiths dismissed these as quirks of an old house settling into its new occupants. However, as the days passed, the manifestations grew more sinister. One night, Emily Smith, the mother of the family, woke up to an odd sound. The walls, lined with floral-patterned wallpaper, oozed a dark, viscous liquid that dripped onto the hardwood floors. Nick set in as she woke her husband, James, to witness the inexplicable phenomenon. They watched in horror as the walls bled, the crimson liquid staining the once charming wallpaper. Fearing a structural issue, James called in contractors and inspectors, but none could explain the macabre occurrence. The bleeding walls persisted, defying all attempts at rational explanation. The Smiths, trapped in a nightmare of their own making, grappled with the unnerving reality of a house that bled. As the weeks passed, the malevolent force within the house intensified its grip. The once bright rooms were swallowed by perpetual gloom, and the whispers grew into anguished cries that echoed through the halls. The family found themselves isolated, their neighbors avoiding the haunted house with walls that wept. Desperation set in as the Smiths sought the help of paranormal investigators, hoping for answers and a way to rid their home of the sinister force. The investigators, armed with an array of gadgets and tools, ventured into the darkened rooms, their senses heightened by the oppressive atmosphere. In the heart of the house, the investigators discovered an old, forgotten room hidden behind a boarded-up wall. The air in the room was thick with malevolence, and a flickering light revealed a scene frozen in time, an antique crib, dusty toys, and faded wallpaper adorned with images of twisted faces. The lead investigator, a seasoned expert named Dr. Hannah Brown, realized that the house harbored a vengeful spirit. The spirit, a former resident of the house, had suffered a tragic fate, and its anguish manifested in the form of bleeding walls. Driven by the need for closure, the spirit sought to inflict its pain on the living. In a chilling seance, Dr. Brown attempted to communicate with the vengeful spirit. As she called out to it, the walls bled more profusely, the crimson liquid forming words on the wallpaper. The spirit, finally able to convey its sorrow, spoke of betrayal, loss, and an eternity of suffering. Driven by empathy, the Smiths promised to help the spirit find peace. With each passing day, they worked to uncover the truth behind the tragic events that had left the spirit trapped in a cycle of torment. Slowly, as the family delved into the house's dark history, the bleeding walls subsided. In a climactic moment, the spirit manifested before the Smiths, its anguished visage contorted in pain. With a final plea for forgiveness, the spirit dissipated into the ethereal, leaving the house in an eerie silence. The Smiths, forever changed by their harrowing experience, decided to leave the haunted house behind. As they walked away, The once dreaded Victorian now stood silent, its walls no longer bleeding. The town, unaware of the dark chapter that unfolded within those walls, embraced the next family to take residence, unknowingly passing the legacy of the house with walls that led to a new generation.